guys, welcome to the final episode of Season 1 here on Inside Military Esports, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. I'm Jamie Kenton.
And I'm Jeremy Smith. We're back where we started at the GameWorks Esports Lounge at Mall of America.
It's time to go inside Military Esports.
On this episode, we'll talk to an Army veteran about the joy of gaming. We'll visit the Fantasy Flight Game Center and talk to several veterans who work there and enjoy tabletop gaming. And Jamie and I take a look back at some of the organizations that we featured on Inside Military Esports. On this week's episode, we're going to jump straight into the Navy Federal Credit Union Spotlight, and joining me today is James Hill, known online as Gator 6 Charlie. James, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about doing this.
I see in the background there it says Go Army. You a big Army fan?
It's made me who I am today. I had a brief stint as an enlisted man, as an infantry guy in the Army station in Hawaii. And then I went to West Point and did a couple years at West Point. It was my formative years. It taught me how to be a leader. It taught me responsibility and taught me time management. And pretty much it's helped fuel any of my ambitions since I've left.
And one of those ambitions since you left was starting a video game website, correct?
It was, and it first started off as just kind of like my personal outlet to just kind of just share my joy of games, things I like about games, and talk about things that I wanted to talk about. But in the last couple of years, it's kind of turned into a journalistic kind of approach, and so I've had to take it a little bit more serious and cover things with a little bit more respect and be accurate about what I'm talking about. And it's been a lot of great joy for me. It's been a way to share my passion with other people.
You use that phrase, the joy of gaming, right on the header of your website as well.
I do, because, short answer here, my gaming handle is Gator 6 Charlie, which doesn't really convey gaming. So the joy of gaming served two purposes. One was let people know when they see Gator 6 Charlie that I'm actually talking about video games, and no, I'm not some covert secret agent or something. But it also wanted to kind of invoke the opposite axiom of like a lot of the negativity and toxic discussion you see mostly around games. People kind of usually go to the internet to kind of vent their frustrations or why they're just really irked with video games. And so I wanted to be kind of the opposite of that axiom.
Writing about video games has actually led you back to talking to more military people, correct?
I get a lot of active duty soldiers who have followed me on Twitter, and I end up having just very like open forum conversations because my DMs are open. I mean, it's like, hey, I noticed you're playing this game, and then sometimes that leads into, believe it or not, fatherly advice, because I'm an older guy and I get these younger guys going through stuff. And it's funny how many conversations end up with like, I end up making these like surrogate children that I've ended up giving like fatherly advice to. They're active duty soldiers who check in, hey, how are you doing, Gator? And I'm like, hey, how are you doing? What are you up to? What are you playing? And it's one of those things. Gaming is a common ground that you would be surprised how you can connect with so many people on a personal level because of gaming.
And a nice thing about that, too, is it would be people that in real life you might not even talk to. But through gaming, those barriers of age, race, religion, beliefs are kind of out the door, and you have that common shared language of video games.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's funny, the relationships I forged has nothing to do with gaming afterwards, but gaming was the thing that kind of the catalyst for those relationships.
All right. Well, thanks for your time today. We appreciate you joining us on the show.
Oh, I thank you for having me. And, I appreciate all the men and women serving our country. Thank you for their service. Please visit me at gator6charlie.com or check me out on Twitter at gator6charlie.com. I love to talk to you anytime, anywhere. Oh, and go Army, beat Navy.
We'll be back with more Inside Military Esports presented by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving the armed forces, veterans, and their families for over 85 years. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA. Welcome back. On Inside Military Esports, we talk a lot about video games and how they bring people together. Another kind of gaming that brings people together is tabletop gaming. I've made some great friends playing games like Catan or Dungeons & Dragons, and today I'm at the Fantasy Flight Game Center in Roseville, Minnesota. We're going to check it out. I'm here at the Fantasy Flight Game Center talking to the manager, Emily.
Hello.
So what can you tell us about the Game Center?
We're a restaurant, retail store selling all kinds of different games and open gaming space, as well as an event center that people can rent and use for private events.
So the gaming center area here consists of a bunch of tables that are just open for people to walk in and use?
Yep, people can bring their own games. They can pull games off our demo wall. We have a restaurant, a bar, coffee bar, and people just come in and they play. And I have staff that'll come in on their days off. And they're here 7 days a week because they're working 5 days a week, and they're 2 days off playing games.
So having a restaurant on hand is obviously a big improvement over being in the basement at somebody's house.
Absolutely.
On top of that, what other advantages does having a game space like this have?
It's a really nice community around here. It brings in tons of different people. We got football players that come in, and we've got your typical grew up playing D&D in the 80s up to people who come in Hobbit cloaks every week to play. So yeah, it's a range, and it's a really nice, wonderful, accepting group.
The Fantasy Flight Game Center has also been host to a number of tournaments.
Yep, we host Worlds events for several of our wholly owned games. We've had charity events here with other games like Warhammer and several others.
Not everybody's into tabletop gaming. What would you say to somebody who has no idea about anything going on in this world?
To give it a chance. I did not come from a gaming community. I married someone who grew up playing D&D, but I did not play games. We have it's not just like the typical gamer games that you think of. I mean, we've got Ticket to Ride, which is a really good family game, Catan, Carcassonne, we've got Spot It, which everybody thinks is a kid's game, but you can make into anything. Anything from just, this is your first time dipping your toes into these waters up to experienced gamers. We've got everything for everybody. People come in on dates. Don't discount it just because it's games. It's not what you think it is.
Well, thanks for your time, Emily.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
Well, let's take a look around. I'm here at the Game Center with Matt Pohl. Matt, thanks for taking a minute to talk to us.
Oh, you're welcome.
So you are the warehouse manager here at Asmodee?
That is correct.
And you're also a veteran.
I am. I was served in the Marine Corps from 2001 to 2005.
And while you were in the service, did you play a lot of video games?
I played a lot of video games, mostly Madden, but occasionally some other things here and there.
And you're into tabletop gaming now. Is that something that happened much while you were in the service?
Not very much in the service, but mostly once I got out, I got into board games more. Warhammer, 40K, a lot of RPGs. That's primarily what I play now.
So for somebody who hasn't played a lot of tabletop games, what would be the easiest way to get into it?
The easiest ones to get into are like Spot It, Catan, Ticket to Ride are some of our best sellers that are easy to get into. Otherwise, going on the internet and just searching for gaming groups and stuff like that, because most people are pretty open. Just go into any game store and find out what they have going on.
What would you say you learned as a Marine that applies to your tabletop gaming adventures?
When I'm playing like miniatures games, it's very tactical for me, so I try to bring that in a lot. Also, like when I'm GMing games for like role playing, trying to keep things, just taking the leadership role and pushing the game forward when it needs to, knowing when to let people talk and things like that.
What is it that draws you to gaming and makes you happy?
The competitive aspect, I think, for a lot of the games. They're not always competitive. Sometimes it's just fun to hang out. But being competitive is fun, and then being with your friends as well.
Well, thanks for taking some time to talk to us a little bit about your service and about your gaming.
Yeah, thank you very much.
When we come back, we'll have more from Fantasy Flight Games. still at Fantasy Flight Games. We've seen the Game Center, now let's take a look behind the scenes with their multimedia team. We're here on the set of Fantasy Flight Games Live, FFG Live, with Ryan Thompson. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And what is this set for?
So Fantasy Flight Games, last year we started streaming on a twice a week basis, and we sit here and play our games. I guess, you know, the hottest new releases that come out, we show them off. Top-down cameras on this big table, that way we can show rules, and the designers and developers can actually answer questions live as well. That way if somebody at home has a rules question or like, how do you come up with these ideas, we can actually do a town hall forum and be live and talk to them as well.
So here on the show you have a chance to also interview the developers of the game, have them explain like some choices they made in the design?
Yeah, so one of the developers might come in. For example, we've had Richard Garfield, who is the creator of Magic the Gathering and the Godfather, yeah, right? And one of our games that he created for us called Keyforge. And it's a blast to be able to have these people come in, sit down, and then the community who are watching at home can ask questions live. And getting the opportunity to meet people who I find are just as big of board game nerds, and then I get to film them. I've had the good fortune, Richard Garfield, Will Wheaton, Sam Witwer, who's the voice of Darth Maul, the cartoons. I love my PlayStation, I love playing online, but there's just something about that face-to-face interaction that board games brings that it fills another little niche spot that the video games do for me as well.
You previously had a job in the military, correct?
Yes, United States Coast Guard from 97, 2005.
And where did you serve?
I was stuck in Port Huron, Michigan for all 4 years of my active enlistment. Every time I would make rank, somebody would leave right before me, which would make me the senior in my department.
Well, what was your favorite part of serving in the Coast Guard?
So I was at a search and rescue and law enforcement detachment, and it was that search and rescue aspect that was far and away my favorite thing. You know, getting a call, somebody would go out and all of a sudden the lake has 15-foot waves and they're in a little skiff boat, and it's like, let's go get them. And looking back, it's kind of like, wow, it's a good thing I was 19 years old at that time, because that would terrify me now. But that adrenaline rush of life-saving is what really got me up in the morning and doing that job. I loved it.
Sitting down here at the Fantasy Flight Game Center with Phil Donovan. Thanks for taking some time with us.
Yeah, thank you.
So, what do you do here?
Here I am the help desk technician. I'm in charge of primarily fixing computers, fixing network equipment, fixing just about anything with the computer screen.
Now, we had talked a little bit earlier, you didn't have any college experience, but they looked at your Marine Corps experience and that did it for them.
Yep, they saw that I had help desk training. I knew how to talk to people. I knew how to, triage, and they were like, hey, we like everything you see. We understand you don't have any college training, but it looks like your military training is exactly what we want.
Well, so you got basically your career training paid for by the Marines.
Yes.
What would you say is your favorite part of your time in the service?
Playing board games with my buddies.
You actually got to play board games?
Oh yeah, all the time.
We talked a little bit about how you joined the Marine Corps to get some job training. What advice would you give anybody else who's thinking about college but not sure?
If anybody's on the fence with the college, go speak to a military recruiter, any branch. It doesn't matter, all of them have great career opportunities to offer. In the Marine Corps, adapt and overcome is kind of the motto, and that gives you tons of opportunity to excel in any career choice you pick.
How has that adapt and overcome helped you in your professional career now?
More confident and just being cool under pressure. All these traits are great for any sort of career choice you want to pick.
You got the general set, which is everything that isn't Star Wars, and then we have the Star Wars set. That is, anytime we play one of the Star Wars games that Fantasy Flights has, X-Wing, Armada, Outer Rim, we'll play it on this set. Sort of Death Star and Tatooine inspired together. Film props, got more film props coming. Game components, something that I like to do since I'm the one behind the camera for all these. I usually hide product that isn't out yet in the background set, so for those that are watching at home, if you actually watch, pay attention to the background. I'm very happy with where I work and seeing this type of stuff, that people can come in, enjoy themselves. They might watch one of the tutorials I make, or they might watch, the FFG Live, and they're like, yeah, we learned how to play this game from one of the videos. It was great. Now I love this game. I really love that aspect of it. And I like being behind the camera so nobody knows who I am. So.
Well, thanks to everyone here at Fantasy Flight Game Center for letting us take a look around, and we'll be back with more Inside Military Esports presented by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving the armed forces, veterans, and their families for over 85 years. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA. Welcome back to Inside Military Esports, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. We're here at GameWorks Mall of America in the Esports Lounge, just kind of reflecting on this first season of Inside Military Esports. What was your favorite part, Jamie?
Oh gosh, there's so many cool things, but I'm gonna have to say getting to go to DreamHack Montreal. I was pretty surprised to hear that the Canadian military is actually thinking about forming an esports team.
Wow.
So that was exciting to get to talk to them and see their enthusiasm for that project. And then just getting to see McCoffey, you know, he was the reason that I went out there. He's doing a ton for his community. He's doing a ton for veterans around the world, taking his own time to talk to veterans who are kind of suffering from things like PTSD and other things from just being overseas. And he's just got such a positive attitude and spirit, and it was just such a pleasure to get to go out there and meet him. What about you?
I got to talk to a lot of people, a lot of really cool people, a lot of veterans, a lot of active duty military. Interacting with U.S. Army esports team is always fun through social media, and meeting them in person was really cool at TwitchCon.
Definitely.
The whole TwitchCon experience was great, but really just finding out all about this community that exists within veteran gamers and how supportive they are of each other. Definitely the highlight for me personally, just to know that there's a lot of really great people out there who are looking out for each other.
We were so fortunate to get to meet so many different organizations that are doing a lot of good for military members and veterans through esports.
We'd like to thank them for everything they do, and let's take a look at some highlights.
When I was injured, I was completely dependent on people to help me with everything. Our mission is dedicated to helping our severely wounded veterans and basically providing them with any type of assistive devices that they would need to basically just have an independent life. Being able to see them work their way back to independence it's so gratifying.
We get those veterans and military members come into our community, and we provide, the safe environment for all of us to be there together. We raise this money, and we send it for care packages overseas to our service members out there.
Tell me a little bit about what the care packages include.
These care packages include basic necessities for what they need in the field.
What do you love about what you do?
I love bringing everybody together into a community. We're open to everyone, military and civilians. Anybody who supports us, we're happy to have you.
I guess at the top level, OSD is a veteran support ecosystem. So we're known for our supply drops, as you said. We've been sending video game care packages downrange for almost 9 years at this point. But additionally, within our ecosystem, we have 3 pillars: social connectivity, professional development, and community service. And we're just making sure that our service members and our veterans, as well as their families, are able to thrive through various programs in a sustained manner over time.
You mentioned that OSD doesn't just do video games downrange, and currently you're doing a huge promotion to send 1 million cups of coffee to troops.
Yeah, that's an insane undertaking, but I think that's what we're known for at this point is, how can we do these massive, memorable moments? But there's going to be a lot of real happy troops getting some incredible freedom beans, as I love to call them, from our friends over at Black Rifle.
So Uniform Gaming is a 501c3 nonprofit that is motivated to help veterans, the military, and first responders help combat traumatic experiences and also social behaviors that come out of traumatic experiences, and also help provide morale and well-being to personnel across, first responders, military deployed locations, and just going through a rough time in general.
It really helps to be able to reach out and say, hey, my family's just not understanding. I need someone that's gone through this with me or has gone through something similar to get you through those tough times.
because it is a brotherhood and a sisterhood. It's been great seeing just even just the littlest bit of response from what we do. It makes it feel like it's 100% worth it.
The Wounded Warrior Project Play was created to answer the call in the streaming community to support our nation's injured veterans. So basically, it's an opportunity for content creators, regardless of what they're streaming, to support our nation's injured veterans.
Wounded Warrior Project really spans, the level of care and commitment to our nation's warriors. The programs, mental health, body, economic empowerment, any way you can be helped, they have programs for you, and you should definitely look them up if you're not familiar with them.
And that's going to wrap up Season 1 here on Inside Military Esports, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission.
We'd like to thank everyone who made the show possible, behind the scenes, those who were interviewed on the show, everyone on bases that gave us access, all the PR people and the PAOs that talked to us, the U.S. Army Esports team, and all our active duty and veteran service members. Thank you for everything you do, and thanks to everyone who watched the show and supported us. I'm Jeremy Smith.
And I'm Jamie Kenton. Make sure to follow us on social media so that you can see when we'll be up next. Thanks so much, guys. For all of us here at IME, we'll see you next time.